It is 9:30 p.m. Central African Time. You're watching The Globe on SABC News. I'm Cyril. Good evening.
A very good evening to you, and I'm Lulu Gabu. Thank you for joining us. Now on to our top story. U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday extended by 1 year sanctions against Zimbabwe.
Trump said the new Zimbabwe government's policies continue to pose an unusual and extraordinary threat to U.S. foreign policy. The renewal comes despite calls by African leaders, including South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, for the sanctions to be lifted to give Harare a chance to recover from its economic crisis.
The first indications that the sanctions would remain in place came as early as February 12th, when the State Department issued a stinging rebuke of Zimbabwe's security forces, expressing serious concern about the excessive use of force against protesters, the use of violence against civil society, and restrictions on the internet, among others. In a letter to the leadership of both houses of Congress, President Donald Trump indicated that the executive order first imposing sanctions in 2003 with respect to actions and policies of the Zimbabwe government and persons who undermine democratic processes would continue beyond March 6th of this year. Trump said Zimbabwe's election last July offered an opportunity for Zimbabwe to set itself on a new path and to implement reforms that could allow the United States to re-engage in ways not previously possible. He referred to the improved election process, but lamented post-election violence, credible reports of intimidation, and clear bias by the country's election commission that kept the poll from being fully free and fair. His letter said President Emmerson Mnangagwa's administration had yet to implement a political and economic overhaul required to rebuild the country's reputation within the international community, reiterating the United States' position that the policies of the government continue to pose an unusual and extraordinary threat to the foreign policy of the United States. There are currently some 141 entities and individuals, including President Mnangagwa and former President Robert Mugabe, under U.S. sanction. Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.